Hi, I'm rickdior, and this is part 2 of my hand drum coordination series. We're sticking with the congas today. I am using a click. Some of you asked me if I could plug that in so you'd have a time reference. I'm happy to do that. So that little demo there contains some of what we're going to go over today at a quick tempo. We'll play slower when I play the examples. So this whole series is about developing independence between the two drums within grooves. So if you just want to accompany a small group by yourself without a drum kit or other percussionists, you can do it on the congas. There's lots of ways to play almost drum set congas, so. So the open tone's your kick, and the slap is your snare drum. But you can get a little more creative with it and create ostinatos with that right hand. So. So we went over a lot of that in the first part of this series, doing this pattern and this pattern, or other variations of it. And today we're going to do triplets. So we'll talk about 12/8, 6/8 rhythms like bembe, nanigo, but the right hand is going to play an ostinato. So the easiest one to start with is this. And that can be found on some grooves on pages 93 and 94 of my book. But we're going to use some rhythms on page 10 to work on this. So the first step is to use a click, and let's go all the way down to, let's say, 107 or so, and put the click on triplets. And then get your right hand going like this. So when I'm doing that, I'm locking into that triplet. But if we're in 12/8, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Again, these rhythms, they're normally written in 6/8. 12/8 is sort of a longer form of that, 2 bars of 6/8. So the open tone, and then the closed palm. Now if it's slower, you can really stick to the drum there. Kind of like a djembe technique. All right, with those bass tones. But here, we're getting off pretty quick, so you're just touching it. Now it's important, and I did not mention this in the first video, but don't use your shoulders. You must remain relaxed, It's good to do this kind of thing where you just relax before you play. Do the same thing in my drumming. Put your head down, relax your shoulders, then come up and... One of the most important things when you play the conga drums and you play drum set and orchestra percussion like I do, you have to avoid hurting your hands. The way to do that is to stay relaxed and use kind of a limp wrist. You see me doing that a lot. That's not a conventional technique. Lots of players are very kind of tight using their forearms like that. And that's fine, but most of those folks aren't jumping between drum set, mallet percussion within, the same tune. A lot of times I have to do that with the orchestra or the Broadway shows that I play. So it's important to have that loose grip and loose feel for the congas, loose grip for the drumming, so you don't hurt yourself, you don't strain things, and it's also better for the sound. As opposed to where nothing will come out. All right, so loose wrist. So with that ostinato, you're going to play that, and you know what? We'll slow down the metronome even more. Let's put it on 100 to make it a little easier. And then you're going to take page 10 and play those rhythms like this. So you see how I'm going the heel toe. I'm doing that like I did in the first video of this series. And sometimes I'm going to the open sound. And sometimes I'm going to an open slap, which is harder. And you feel that in your fingertips, okay? Versus the open tone, you're not quite hitting so hard there. And you want to mix it up. So every time you do it, it'll be a little bit different. That's the whole idea of this exercise. So we'll do it a little faster now. Let's say 110. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and just you play the whole page like that. And any book that has triplet rhythms, they work great. You can also interpret eighth notes as triplets, all that stuff that we always talk about. And you could do it any tempo. Doing it really fast, like 130, that's pretty quick. You're going to play a little bit lower. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty quick. Normally you don't play those rhythms that fast, but it's fun to do that, all right? The next step you can try is the backbeat rhythms. So like a shuffle. So the right hand would do this. Now I didn't mention this before, but don't hesitate to do the kind of flamming with the right hand. So So those flams are really, you know, kind of notable for that character of the open. All right, so you want to add that in there. So let's try the metronome now at 100 again on triplets, and we'll do that ostinato. So that's tricky, and you know, you can change it up a little if you want, but you've got to stick at first with that. Now faster, you don't want to do this too fast, but 120 is a good fast tempo. Kind of like a shuffle, all right? So it works really well for that. So there's lots of different variations. You can, instead of doing the backbeat, you can go, or so you can switch it around so the upbeats are on the open tone. So let me show you a little of that, and I'll switch it around some. So you take that same rhythm, ba, 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 and you put the opens in different spots. Again, a lot of these can be found in the dual rhythms on pages 93, 94 of my book. Those are the 6/8 rhythms where you'll see lots of variations on that. All right, so that's part 2. I'm trying to do this in order. The next part, instead of dealing with ostinatos, we'll be dealing with interpreting rhythms, which is very, very tricky. And that's more of traditional conga playing, but also great for playing pop and rock and jazz congas. So we'll see you soon.